Cool, we all here? A little bit later than expected. Probably 4 minutes late. I think the rule is 15 minutes and you're still out on time. Yeah, I tried to do it and I had to open up a separate browser to get it to go. So can you guys hear me okay? Well, the messages are coming through now. Cool. I am never going to be able to read at that speed. Hey, 7-4 crew, what's going on? Welcome back. If you don't know me, my name's Kelsey. I'm a 747 pilot. My channel, 74 Gear, is all about aviation. I wanted to do a live stream. I've been meaning to do it. Actually, I was supposed to be in Miami, and it was supposed to be a little bit brighter, but I'm here in Alaska. It's 6 in the morning. I got up a little early so I could do this with you all. And I've been reading a lot of the comments. I've been seeing a lot of people asking me if I could do a live stream. It's been a while since I've done one, and answer some of the questions you all have, and let you know kind of what's going on out here in the world of aviation. I know a lot of you have been stuck inside for a while and wondering if flights are full and what's going on at these airports and things like that. So I wanted to hop on and do a live stream with you all. Yeah, I'm in Anchorage right now. I got a flight in a couple of hours. So I have training tomorrow. I have training tomorrow. I have a one-day training that I have to do. So I got to go do that. And so I got a flight in a couple hours. So I'm dressed, ready to go do some work. Anyway, let's just talk about some of the stuff. I actually am a little bit sad, obviously, with COVID, of course, obviously all the economic impact and all of that stuff. I've also had a lot of really cool collaborations that I had planned with some other people starting in March, and unfortunately those have been pushed back a bit, but I'm hoping things will improve here and I can get out and do some of these collaborations that I had planned. So hopefully, maybe what are we in July? So maybe August, September, we'll start seeing some really cool collabs that I had lined up at the beginning of the year. I'm really excited to do those. I think you all are going to love some of the ideas that I have planned here. So that's what's going on over here. Some of the other people have been asking me about the impacts of what's going on with COVID, as far as for the airlines, people losing their jobs, things like that. Obviously, if you're flying cargo, we are flying a lot right now. So there's not really any issues on that side for the passenger flying. Obviously, that has been impacted, and mostly it's not the low-cost carriers. And by low-cost carriers, I mean usually doing shorter flights on a 737 or A320 that are doing those short flights. More what I'm talking about is the legacy carriers, the transatlantic and international flying, because obviously that has still been shut down. I don't know if you recently heard that the US and Europe now not doing passenger flying between those two, which is sad, because at my hotel there was a bunch of Lufthansa crew that I saw, I don't want to, maybe 4 weeks ago. They had just started, they had just come out of quarantine. They were so excited. We were both on layovers in Los Angeles. There was a crew, I don't know, maybe about 15 flight attendants. I think they had brought in an A350. I don't know if they have those. Anyways, they came across it, and we were all hanging out and talking, and it was kind of cool. And they were so excited to be out of quarantine, to be flying again. So it was very cool for them. And we talked for a little bit, and then that was it. So obviously that party stopped. As far as for the passenger flying, I think it's going to take a while for that international business to pick up. Obviously, there's the quarantine and all the politics of that, and then people wearing masks. Speaking of which, I don't know if I don't tweet very much, but I put out a tweet last week. I was on a commercial flight, and I saw American kick somebody off the plane because he refused to wear his mask. So if you are going to ride commercial, a lot of these airlines are requiring you to wear a mask. I just make sure that you wear it. Whether you agree with it or don't agree with it, that's not really the point. It's more, and this is my opinion on it, it's more just listening to what the crew tells you. If the crew asks you to do something, then you got to do it. So if the crew asked them to wear the mask, they didn't want to do the mask. We pushed back from the gate. They still refused to wear the mask, and they actually pulled back into the gate and kicked them off the plane. The captain came back to the flight attendant because he was kind of arguing with the flight attendant. So that's what happened. So just make sure you wear your masks. We're going to do a Q&A here in a little bit. I'm only going to have about 30 minutes to do this. Like I said, I have a flight in an hour, so I got to prep for all that and get ready to go to work. Some people were asking about furloughs as far as going through flight school right now. I honestly don't know what the overall impact is going to be. I think it's going to take a little while to see what's going to happen. In the US, at least, they're doing a lot of early retirements for, I think if you're over 62, they're giving away packages for guys to leave, which I think is cool because they're obviously going to get a package to go. And a lot of the newer pilots that are made it are going to be able to keep their jobs. If they don't leave, a lot of newer pilots are going to get furloughed. And if you're not familiar with what furloughing is, it's basically you're temporarily fired. So that's what's going on with the furloughs in the world. I know a lot of my friends that are flying passengers only are a bit nervous about that. Most of the passenger flying that I usually do is military stuff, and that's why you'll never see me. Sometimes I'll do live streams on Instagram or something like that where I'm on a passenger plane, but you never see passengers on there because obviously I can't talk about where we're going with them or show them or any of that stuff, but I'll do some pictures or live streams, walk around the plane, and you'll see that sometimes on my Instagram, and that's what that's all about. As far as for Hollywood versus reality videos, I see you guys saying asked to do 7,500, and that is on the list. I have some other ones that are planned as well. So, but yeah, that's on the list. And if you guys leave comments, always when you leave comments in the sections after I post a video, usually within that first hour, I try to reply to all those and I read all of them. The problem is the last couple months, every Sunday at this time when I've been posting, I've been in Asia or I've been somewhere else in the world 2 in the morning, and sometimes I'm flying or I can't, things like that. So it's been difficult sometimes to always reply like I normally prefer to do, but that's kind of the world that we live in. And let's see here. Yeah, I guess that's I wrote a few notes down, just kind of what was going on. As far as for a Q&A, we're going to do some of those. I'm going to read some of these questions here. Oh, the other thing, that 747 being retired. I know a lot of people are asking me if I'm really sad about that. The reality is that, these planes are built to last for a while, and obviously they weren't going to go forever. The 4-engine airplanes like the Dash 8, which is the newer model, I think that still's got a lot of life in it, especially for the cargo. It's a very fuel efficient cargo freighter, and with the nose loader, and I made a video about that a while ago about the nose loader. There's only 747 can do that, so it's going to have some life. But obviously, I think everybody knew that the longevity of the 4-engine aircrafts were going to go. Obviously, I think the future for me at my airline will be the 777 freighter, and so that will be in the future. But there's these 747s are still going to be flying for a while, and I don't really want to have to change my channel name to 77 Gear, but we'll see what happens. But I'm going to answer some of the questions you guys have. Like I said, I have just a few minutes because I gotta get all my flight plan prep and look and see everything before I go to work. Obviously, that's the priority here. So let's see what some of these questions are. People are asking here. Happy July 4th, Toga. Thanks so much. And hey, Knife Guy. Just for the record, I appreciate you guys sending that in there. A lot of people do these for money, and that's not really why I'm doing these live streams. I do it mostly for you all to give you answers, give you some feedback. I know when I went to flight school, I didn't have anybody like a a person I could write, especially someone, like a 7-4 pilot or anybody that was flying anything, because I think a lot of people, especially if you're going to go to the airlines, that's your goal, is to get to a large long haul aircraft. So that's more what the reason was for creating this. Let's see here. Concorde, a 747. And by the way, if you guys spam these with your comment again and again and again, I'm not going to reply, because then you guys can't see how fast the screen is moving. But Concorde, a 747. Yeah, I think it would be really cool to fly the Concorde, because I think it'd be cool to fly such a unique aircraft. I don't know how spacious it is. I know somebody who rode in the Concorde that said it wasn't very spacious, so I'm guessing the flight deck wasn't very spacious. But I think, given the opportunity, absolutely, I'd love to fly a plane supersonic. I think that'd be very fun. What's up, Master CO2? I was supposed to be in Miami right now, but here I am. Let's see, what else we got here? What airline do I fly for? So I've been answering this since the beginning. Here's the deal. Obviously, my airline knows about the channel, but I don't talk about my airline, and that's kind of the agreement, if you will. I'm not a representative of them. I don't speak for them or speak on their behalf. That's why you never see me with my wings on. It's something that's just it's kind of a social media thing. So it's not something that it's just not something that I can talk about. You can figure it out. You can look at my pictures. You can figure out where I'm going and the type of unique flying that I do and where I'm at in the world. And some of the planes that we fly, we're the only ones that fly them. So if you do that, you'll be able to figure out who I'm flying for. Let's see if we can get some of these questions here. These are moving so fast. Our plane's going to be completely automated in 20 years. That's a great question. Here's, I think, the biggest problem. And I spoke to a friend of mine who is an Air Force pilot and a drone pilot, and this is what he said to me. They're not even close to doing it for drones. As far as for, obviously we know that drones are flying and they're unmanned. And so that obviously is a thing. But will it go to the point where people are going to get 300 people into a plane without any person up there flying the plane? I don't know. It's possible. I think more likely it'll happen in cargo. Obviously, if it does ever happen, it will be cargo, and it will be that for a long time before passengers are willing to do it. The other thing you have to keep in mind, though, is computers make mistakes, less than humans, but they still make mistakes, and people be very upset. Imagine if, take a city like Los Angeles or Miami, where the airports are downtown. If you're taking off over the city and there were to be an engine failure and the computer had a malfunction, you can imagine a fully loaded plane crashing into the city like that would be a big issue. Sully is a great example of that. I don't know. We don't know, right? We don't know what the plane would have done in that situation. Would it have landed on the water like that? I don't know. So will it happen? It will probably happen. That's just the reality of the world that we live in. But I don't think it's going to happen in the next few years. Again, technology is advancing fast, so we're going to see. But I don't think it's going to happen in the next few years. I have seen the movie 7500, and I will be reviewing it here soon. It is actually, I actually got it on my computer, so I'm guessing that will be out later this month or next month. That'll be out there. Taxi times have gotten significantly shorter. Taxi times, and also just moving around inside the airport airspace. For example, I was flying into Amsterdam, I don't know, say 2 months ago, kind of when COVID was really very big in Europe. And I was somewhere over London, and we got direct to one of the initial fixes in Amsterdam, which never happens. There's normally a lot of frequency changes and a lot that's going on. So the fact that we were able to get direct was crazy. It's eerie, honestly, being up there flying. And I was talking with some of my friends that do passengers only. I was coming into LAX a couple weeks ago, and we were coming in there, and they gave us free speed, like go as fast as you guys want as you're coming in, which is abnormal. Normally you're very regulated on the speed that they want you to have, but it was us and I think 2 other planes, so a total of 3 planes. And I asked him how many he normally has. He said he normally had about 70 to 80 on a scope, and he only had 3. So that just puts it in perspective of just how low the volume is. Luckily, because of the times that I fly, I'm not usually flying during a big push that the airlines are doing. So I don't usually have really long taxi times. I mean, I've actually talked about it in a video. I just did another meme video, which I'm going to be editing here. I recorded it actually here in this hotel yesterday. But the taxi times when you're doing passenger flying in a place like LaGuardia, it can be really long and grueling. So let's see what other questions we got in here. Have I ever had any big celebrities on my aircraft? Yeah, I have, but I can't talk about them. How boring is that, right? I also flew charters, so we had some on there as well. But you know, I'll tell you about a quick story real quick. How much time I got? I got 10 minutes. I was gonna have. I've had some famous rappers and stuff, and I was flying. This is back when I was flying passenger flying. This famous rapper got on the plane, and the flight attendants had to get this paperwork, and it showed who was coming on. And obviously, some of these rappers have, you know, their name, and then they have their actual name, and it had the name of this rapper. And this flight attendant got so excited. We all got excited because it's actually a rapper I really like. So they got real excited, ran back, started getting their makeup on and getting ready to do everything. I can't say the flight attendant's name because it's such a unique name that if I said it, she would know I was talking about her, and we're asked her permission for it. But anyways, she ran back and started getting her makeup on and everything, getting ready to go. And I said, why aren't you wearing your makeup for me? I don't get it. But anyways, we were getting ready to go. We boarded everybody. He was going to be the last person to walk on the plane. And just before he was about to walk on, we get a message on our system that said there was a problem, and it was a major malfunction. The plane wasn't going to go for about an hour. So he never got on the plane. He literally walked back up the jet bridge, got back on, and went on another flight. Our plane got fixed before the next flight he got on, so we ended up actually beating him there, but that was a funny story. Is there any consistency to your flights nowadays? I see PAX cargo here and there. I mean, most of my flying is cargo, so, and it usually is. I'd say 95% of my flying is cargo, maybe more, maybe 98. So there is passenger flying, and I know I'm different than a lot of cargo pilots in that I enjoy doing passengers from time to time. It has kind of a headache in some cases. You know, when you're flying cargo, it's just a curtain, so you can walk in and out of the flight deck like you saw in my last cockpit confessionals video. You can walk inside and outside the flight deck whenever you want. So that's really cool, and I enjoy being able to do that. And yeah. How busy is Anchorage? Well, I'm looking at the airport from my hotel room, and it's busy because there's a lot of cargo that's moving in and out of here. Obviously, the passenger stuff has slowed up a bit, but I can actually see the airport and the planes taking off because I'm up on a pretty high floor out here. And how cool is that, huh? Let's see what else. Enjoy the channel, and thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate all of you guys that come here and watch my videos and share it, and walking through the airports and people running up and saying hi to me. It really means a lot to me. I really enjoy that. Obviously, now there's no shaking hands and stuff like that. But just the other day, I was sitting on a plane, and I had 3 people. I was flying on a passenger plane, just as a regular passenger. I was just in uniform. I just finished flying. I had three different people walk past me and say they liked my channel. 3 different passengers, and it was really cool. And I really appreciate that. I appreciate you guys are here and that you enjoy what I'm doing, and hopefully, you know, everything I'm doing to trying to give value with you all. So thanks. Matt, hey man, you don't ever have to spend money to say hi to me. If every video that I post, leave a comment on there in that first hour, and I'll always say hi back. But thanks so much. I'm glad you all are appreciating it. What do we got? 5 more minutes, and we got to get out of here because I got to get to work. Let's see here. Try to finish my PIC. So your question is, try to finish your 1,000 PIC at the regional, risk a downgrade in October. So if you guys don't know, October 1st is going to be the deadline that a lot of the airlines are going to start either furloughing and downgrading depending on what's going on. I don't know, if you ask me, if you're that close and you got 150 hours to go, a buddy of mine who's at the regionals, he just upgraded and he's going and flying. So you have July, August, September. If you should be able to, if you can pick up some flights, get 150 hours. So the reality is, right now it's going to be hyper competitive again to get to anybody that's a major, just because the furloughs of what's going to go on. So you're going to have the furloughs; those people have to get hired back, and then you have the regular people starting to get hired again. So the 1,000 hours turbine PIC is a competitive requirement in some cases. So if you can get it in the next 2 months, why not? Long term, though, keep in mind, if you do get furloughed and you're out for a year or two, then you might have a problem. If FedEx is your ultimate goal, and it's a great airline, and I have some friends over there, just realize that that might be your ultimate goal. But if you're out on the street for a while, that's obviously going to be a difficult situation. So I in my opinion, is always get somewhere, and that's get somewhere where you can be long term. If you're within a month or two, depending on when your class date is, your class date may not be till August. So if that's the case, then I would just work on all your days off and get the extra 150 hours. I don't know, and I don't know what the upgrade time is at ATI, so or what aircraft you'd be on. So that's something you're just going to kind of do your research on that. Let's see here. Let's see. Have you ever flown a glider? I have never flown a glider, Knuckles. I would like to fly one. I think it'd be fun. I think it'd be fun to fly one. I've watched videos on it, and I think it'd be fun to fly. But no, I've never flown a glider. How often do I deal with unruly passengers? It's not very common. Not as common as you might think. Obviously, every now and again you have people who want to challenge the system, like the guy who got kicked off the flight last week, and it's unfortunately part of dealing with people. With most of the passenger flying that I do now, like I said, 98% of my flying is cargo. The boxes are never complaining, and the passenger flying that I'm doing now is a lot of it's military, and those guys they just show up and they're ready to go home, or we're flying them overseas. And obviously there's a chain of command, and I've never had a problem with them ever. They're always very polite, and you've never seen 400 people board and get their stuff put away that fast. It's pretty efficient watching them, because they just get slotted in and on you go. Surprised Kelsey isn't wearing pants. Actually, you know what? That's actually funny that you say that. Yesterday, when I was making the video, I took a photo from back here. I got a photo. It's coming back this direction, and you can actually see that I am wearing pants. So I do wear pants in my videos, despite what people think. Is the Earth flat? No. Have you flown an Antonov? No. How often do passengers ask for your phone number? Never. How often is there bad air traffic control? For the most part, air traffic control is doing their job just like everybody else. They make mistakes sometimes, just like pilots do. But it's a pretty rigid setup system where we all know what we should be saying and not saying. So it's very rare. I've had a few air traffic controllers recognize my voice, and that's pretty crazy. I can't see the Lake Hood Strip. I can see the airport, but I can't see the float planes. No. What do you do if someone appears impaired in flight? So if they show up to the plane and they're drunk, then you have the right to refuse them to get on the plane. If they get drunk on the plane, obviously it depends. If they're just drunk and they're just sitting there, I don't think it's a big deal. If they get rowdy, then obviously it escalates. So there's a bunch of different points where there becomes a point where you have the police waiting for them when you land. And I've had to call and have police waiting for me. I had a scenario where we thought somebody had been abducted and was being like human trafficking, and we'd called ahead for that. And I've had a few of those situations, but for the most part, it's not really bad. Beluga or Dreamlifter? Well, I think we know the answer to that. I fly the Dreamlifter, so that's always going to be my number one. So anyways, that answered that. And I've ever had to call the police. Have you ever flown into China airport or airspace? Yes, many times. The biggest difference with China over a lot of the different places, China has a thing where they have you offset, which I had not seen before, but they always have you offset. So you'll be flying on your route and they'll give you like a 3-mile right offset. So they always do an offset, and they also do meters, which is, it's difficult because they'll say like climb to 9,840 meters or something like that. And you have a conversion chart. So now you have to get a conversion chart out, and hopefully there's 3 people and you have somebody that's there that's reading the conversion chart, and you're setting it and all of that stuff. So those are some of the things along that flying in China it's got its own set of challenges, which then becomes why a while back I made that video on how important it is to have proper radio phraseology, because in these places they're expecting to hear specific words. So if you're, for example, I saw a guy who had come from the regionals, and we were getting ready to land, and he was brand new, and he said something like 8 to run, ILS 8 right, something like that. And they were like, what? And 8 to run basically meaning like 8 miles until you're at the runway. And that type of slang, that doesn't really work in international, especially when it's your second language that they're listening to. So it's really important to develop those good habits now, like 8,000 climbing 12,000, not 8 for 12, because they don't understand when you start throwing in those other numbers. And the same for the descent, flight level 260 descending, flight level 100, 260 descending 100. And that's just because there's different flight level values in different places. So, in Germany, for example, transition altitude, when you're going up, transition altitude is 5,000. In the US, a lot of it's 18. So it's different everywhere you go. We got 2 minutes, and then I got to get out of here. Yeah, I have been in an emergency landing situation. Mostly, a lot of my, I don't want to say scary stories, but a lot of my stories where things are going bad, it was when I was flying small aircraft early in my career where the maintenance wasn't very good. On the larger aircraft, the commercial passenger airlines, especially the 747, if you lose an engine, it's really not a huge deal. If you lose 2 engines, you're in trouble, but if you lose 1, it's not a big deal unless it's on fire. If you lose just 1 engine, it's not a big deal. I should probably turn off my phone. Oh, Peter, what's up, man? Peter from Mentor Pilot is watching. He just texted me. He's watching from his hammock, and me and him have been trying to do a live, but every time he was available to do it, I was in Asia or 2 in the morning or something like that. But one of these days we're going to do another live video. I know a lot of you guys liked when I flew out there to Spain and did that. What time is it? Crew, I got to get going. I got to go downstairs, grab some breakfast, because I love my free breakfast. I got to grab some free breakfast, and I got to get ready for my flight and get going. I hope you all enjoyed this. Thank you guys so much for coming here, for watching this. I'll try to take a look at some of the comments you leave once I get on the ground. It's going to be an 8-hour flight. I'll post my route on my Instagram. I'll post a story of the route, so that way if you want to see where I'm going, you can check it out. Thank you all so much for coming here. Thank you guys so much for the support. You on the 7th Floor crew have been so great and so nice and so supportive. And I want to thank you all for coming here and leaving comments and honestly even the mean comments, because I think some of the mean comment videos are so funny, and the fact that you take your time, whether it's to say something positive or negative. I want to thank you all so much for doing that. It really means a lot for me, and it's given me some opportunities I honestly never thought I was going to have. And that is what some of these collaborations I have planned for later this year are going to be about. So I hope you all are doing great. Take care, and I will talk to you soon. Next Sunday there will be another video up, and hopefully I'll be on a normal time that I can reply to everybody. Hey, y'all, take care. And of course, I can't finish. You guys would freak out if I didn't say it, but keep the blue side up.